When I bite into a York peppermint patty, grrr, I get the sensation of cold, crisp mountain air against my face as I race towards liftoff in the whole world championship ski jump.
York peppermint patties get the sensation of York's dark, rich chocolate covering a cool, crisp mint center.
And the crowd roars as he executes a faultless landing.
Lovely, Arthur. You win a silver.
Get the York sensation.
Now at Sears, a Christmas of red ribbon values, including Sears' best-selling video game, Video Arcade. On sale now for only $134.99, our lowest price ever. And don't miss the full assortment of game cartridges available at everyday low prices. Or try your hand at Sears' wide selection of 1- and 2-player handheld sports games. Our everyday low price is $12 to $13 lower than last Christmas. To wrap up a beautiful Christmas, you can count on Sears.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's time for another great Mr. Poestyle video, and here we are. It's Christmas 2022. Who would have thunk it? Here we are, and I have so many things I want to talk about that I know that I'm going to go back after I upload this and regret that I forgot some of the things that I thought about talking about. I really need to get a dry erase board with some bullet points that I can kind of glance off to at the side. But we're talking Christmas. We're talking 2022. So we're talking 40 years since I got my Atari 2600, 1982. Not just mine, it was for the kids. So my sister, who's 6 years older than me, my oldest brother's 4 years older than me, my other brother's 2 years older than me, and the baby, me. I was 10 years old when I first started gaming at home. Now, the 2600 came out as the VCS in 77. So yeah, it took us a little bit to get one finally, to talk the old man into getting one. And I remember my brothers trying hard to get them get it for a while, and it just didn't happen. My dad had heard from buddies at work that it could cause burn-in on the screen, and the scores and stuff would still be there after the game was turned off, and blah, it was expensive, and this and that. So it wasn't a whole lot on my radar exactly that Christmas. So I don't remember exactly how it came about. My brothers probably begged for it again, and it came about. I have a picture of my brothers with it that Christmas, and I'm not in the picture. I remember being off to the side and kind of behind my mom when she took the picture, looking at something else that I got that year. So now we knew, of course, other people that had the 2600, but we didn't have one. And I loved action figures, right? In the summertime, we played outside. We played outside with action figures. We played tag. We played baseball, football. We had a lot of woods around. We played war in the woods. We rode our bikes everywhere. We had a park nearby that had basketball and softball and tennis courts and stuff like that. We didn't play tennis on it. We played deck hockey on the tennis courts in the wintertime after the nets were down. But anyway, so really, Atari wasn't greatly, if that's a word, on my radar, but for my brothers it was, and they asked for it, and it was a family gift. So when my mom or whoever said, okay, let's open the family gift, I probably thought it was another board game or something. I was still messing with something else, and they opened it, and it was the Atari. And it wasn't until they hooked it up and we got our chance to play that I was like, hey, I am obsessed, and I have been for 40 years now. Now, I had played a few arcade games at different restaurants and stuff. Crazy Climber comes to mind. Burger Time comes to mind. I fell in love with those, but we didn't go to these places that often to get to play them. There was no arcade places nearby where we lived. So, did love that, but never really thought about playing it at home until then. You can see my breath. It's -3 degrees right now in my garage, my studio, if you will, detached garage. I got a little space heater here. The real feel right now is like -27, but it's that way all around the U.S. right now, it seems. So we're all getting nailed. It was like 40 degrees this morning and rapidly fell within a few hours. So here we are. Everything's froze up. The roads are terrible. The snow is falling. I got breath in front of my face. I know. You probably think I always do because I probably smell like garlic and poo. But I don't. But it's cold. But yeah, Anyway, back on topic, we got our Atari 2600 in 1982, and I fell in love with it. So here I want to talk about it a little bit and about the games that we got for the thing at the time. Pretty amazing in my opinion. Now, my father had a really good job throughout the 70s and early 80s, and the company he worked for got closed down for certain reasons. There was some radioactive material that was seeping into the ground, and then they had to force the shutdown and were sued and this and that. And so my dad was out of a job for a little while there, worked for the borough and stuff, little jobs, not making the money that he did. So they always made sure Christmas was special, though. I might have tightened the purse strings the rest of the year. Even birthdays, we might get one big present. Castle Grace Call one year, I got a green machine. But you didn't get a whole ton of stuff. But Christmas, man, they really laid it on for 4 kids, even whenever times were tough, and before my mom went and got a job too. You know, I had so many Return of the Jedi action figures the following year. It was ridiculous. Jabba's play set and just a ton of action figures, you know. And they always made sure that Christmas was great for us. And we collected different things. I collected Masters of the Universe. My brother collected G.I. Joe. And we would just get a ton of that stuff. But that year in 82, I don't really remember the other toys that I got so much, as well as I do the Atari 2600.
Atari would like to thank you for taking us into your homes. We wish you all a happy holiday.
Hope we're going to a New Year's Eve party.
I'd prefer an office party.
I want to go to a school Christmas party.
McDonald's Chicken McNuggets 20-pack, the life of any holiday party.
How do I look?
Delicious. Golden brown is your color.
Whoopee! Let's go to a sleigh ride party.
It's a good time for the great taste.
Parties, parties. That's all you 20-packs ever think of.
Of McDonald's.
Time for McDonald's gift certificates. 50 cents each or a book of 10 for $5.
It was very exciting once we opened it. And I still have that Atari 2600. And it's right here. It's a 4-switch Woody. It was a 2600 by that point. I don't think they were any longer called the VCS. But it's right here. This is it. And it works. It's beautiful. It works. But I've kind of retired it as a display item in my game room because I have other models of the 2600 that I play on. I play on a light 6er when I'm down there most of the time, or I'll play the games on my 7800. If I'm upstairs, I play them on my Retron 77. But I do have this beauty, and this is what we got that year. This is it. This is the real deal. Like I said, it works. It works beautifully. And that's our 4-switch Woody. And the lineup of games I have right here. How my parents determined this, I really do not know. Now, they bought our 2600, they told us later, in a place called Fisher Big Wheel. So you may or may not know what that was. But it was a retail store. We had it in our area, but they bought it there. I don't know if they put it on layaway. I remember my dad saying it was very expensive. I could probably look up and see how much it cost back in 82. But it was packaged with what everybody's with. We had Combat. And it was packaged with Pac-Man, which I have about 1 billion copies of this right now. So we fell in love with this version of Pac-Man because it was the Pac-Man we knew. You know, we weren't in the arcades. We knew about Pac-Man Fever. We had the record Pac-Man Fever, which we often played while we played these games. Okay, so for my oldest brother, they got him Pitfall. And this is it. This is his cartridge of Pitfall. Still works. For my other older brother, they got him Defender. Like I said, I don't know how they chose who got what game, but they just did. And they wrapped it up and they slapped somebody's name. Probably random like that. Slapped the name on it. And for me, Stampede. So this was the very first video game that I ever owned was Stampede for the Atari 2600. Pretty sweet, I think. And then finally, it was supposed to be for the whole family game was Haunted House, which they were all for the whole family, but this is just what my parents did. So Haunted House. And that's mostly based on the fact that my dad loves Halloween. He's always loved haunted houses. He used to take us to them when we were kids. Anything scary. So Haunted House. And you know, it wasn't until later, we all played these games. It wasn't until a little bit later in life that I found out that they actually played Haunted House and Stampede and, where's it at? Pac-Man a good bit after we went to bed. So I never knew that until later years. I just thought my parents never ever played video games. Well, they did. They played those games. And mostly when my dad's little sister was home visiting, she would sit and play Pac-Man and Stampede and Haunted House with my parents for high scores or whatever while we were in bed. So I thought that was interesting once I found that out, because my parents have never showed any interest in video games to me, especially after that when I got my NES and my SNES. Never showed any interest in any of that stuff. So as a result of that, a few years back I bought them the Atari Flashback Gold, and I put a bunch of games on the SD card, and it's at their house now, and they play Stampede and Pac-Man and Haunted House, and they've actually added a few more games to it that they found just looking through the games I put on there. They play Freeway against each other now, and my parents are, 75 and 76 years old, so it's just funny to me to think about them sitting there by themselves. They're both retired and they're just playing Freeway or whatever, so really cool. But yeah, Christmas was always super special to me. I mean, you talk about the catalogs, the Sears Wish Book and the JCPenney's Christmas Book, and those would come, I think, around August or September, and we would race to the mailbox to get them to be the first to circle. And it got so bad that my mom said we had to take turns, taking turns with 4 kids who got to look at it first each year. So that meant I'd have to wait. Well, my sister got it this year, my brother the next year, my other brother. I gotta wait 3-4 years before I get first dibs. But eventually you got your grubby little hands on it, and you circled what you wanted. And that was the year or the year after, I should say, is when video games became a thing. This is what I want. Now, you would beg all the time when we'd go to a store to get another game, and once in a while you would get one, or maybe one for our birthday. Like I said, I had Stampede was my first one. I do believe, I'm almost positive, the second game I ever owned was Adventure. I think I saw that at a store and asked for it and got it, for a birthday or something. Maybe the next Christmas. I don't think it was as far as the next Christmas, but maybe. But yeah, it was special to me to get that Christmas book. And also around that time of the year, September or so, they would start putting the commercials on for the Time Life Treasury Christmas records or cassettes you could buy. And that would kickstart it for me. I would see that, and they would start out the commercial. Maybe I'll put it here if I can find the right one.
Time Life Music presents the Treasury of Christmas. Over 1 million sold.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Now, for the first time, Time Life Music brings you all these great stars together in one Christmas collection. 50 timeless classics on 3 records, 2 long play cassettes, and now on 2 compact discs.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
Only Time Life brings you Bing Crosby's White Christmas, the most popular recording of all time. The Treasury of Christmas, the perfect way to celebrate the joy of this holiday season. 50 songs on 3 records, 2 long play cassettes, just $19.99. And now, for the first time, on 2 compact discs, just $26.99.
To order, credit card customers call 1-800-421-2000. That's 1-800-421-2000. Or save COD charges and send just $19.99 for 3 albums or 2 cassettes, or $26.99 for compact discs. Plus $3 shipping and handling to Treasury of Christmas 1, P.O. Box 8449, Atlanta, Georgia.
It was Christmas Eve in McDonald's land. Everyone was asleep except Ronald, who had other plans. Out of his bed, he silently crept.
Cuckoo! What are you doing, Ronald?
Shh! I'm giving McDonald's gift certificates to all my friends. So a hamburglar can get a hamburger.
Rubble, 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 rubble.
And Grimace.
Is it Christmas yet?
Not yet. Grimace can get a shake.
Christmas.
Captain Crook, fillet of fish. And the mayor, he'd get a cheeseburger.
So to the chimney Ronald did reach.
You can get them at McDonald's, 50 cents each.
When suddenly bright light shined in his eyes, Ronald turned around, amazed and surprised.
Hi, guys. I make too much noise?
Merry Christmas, Ronald!
All his friends had a present for him.
McDonald's gift certificates for me? Oh, gee. And a Merry Christmas to all of you from all of us at McDonald's. Merry Christmas.
I would start out like, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And they would go through all the songs. I remember back then, you needed to give them 6 to 8 weeks to deliver the dang thing. So that's why they would start showing the commercials or the ads for them so early. It wasn't like I got Amazon Prime and I'm getting it the next day. It was like, here's Time Life Treasury of Music records, and you better order now if you want to get it in time for Christmas. Meanwhile, it was still 90 degrees outside. You were sweating and wearing shorts, but I was ready for Christmas. That was such a special time of the year. And like I said, we would not sleep Christmas Eve. But especially me and my brother that's 2 years older than me. The other two, as they got older, yeah, they would pass right out until morning. My parents wouldn't get stuff ready for under the tree until we went to bed, but we could hear them running into the room with different stuff, you know. And a lot of times we were just little jerks anyway. We went and looked under their beds and searched the room the months before to try to find stuff. My older brothers taught me that. Before Mom got them wrapped, we might be able to see something, you know. And even before that, I remember late 70s, my mom would order a lot of stuff through the Penny's catalog because we had a Penny's center downtown. It was a Penny's store, but in the basement you could pick up your catalog orders. And we would get in the station wagon, and me and my brother that's 2 years older than me, we weren't in school yet. I remember going in that Dodge Aspen wood grain station wagon with my parents to Penny's while my oldest brother and oldest sister were in school. And we would go into the basement, and my mom would pick up the order, and it would be a huge cardboard box. I think it was like one-stop shopping for her. Almost all the shopping for that Christmas was done there through the catalog. And they would just fill this box, big cardboard box full, so much that when they slid it into the back of the station wagon, it almost touched the ceiling of that station wagon, and the presents were all in there. And I remember them telling us, none of us were restrained back then. They had the seat down of the station wagon to fit the box. So me and my other brother were just sitting in there, no seat belts. You'll be fine. But I remember them telling us, don't be looking in that box. Stay out of the box the whole way home. You know, stay out of the box. And then they would drag it in. My dad would carry it into the house, and they'd have it in there. And sure enough, you know, at some point, my brothers would get together, and we would scheme, and we would try to sneak and look and see what we got, because we were jerks. I did the same thing with my NES when I begged for it. I keep meaning to get to a video on that. Maybe next Christmas. That'll be the next step, is the year that I got my NES. But I remember begging for that, and my mom got it and hid it under a blanket up on this big chifforobe, or whatever you want to call it, in their room. And I just happened to discover it. And I looked at that NES box for about a month before Christmas until she finally wrapped the thing, because I'm a jerk. But I was still excited, just every bit excited Christmas morning. She probably doesn't know to this day that I saw it ahead of time. And I was still excited about it. It got so bad with that, and I was reminded by this when talking to Arcade Chaos tonight. So I figured I would tell the story, and this is pretty dumb on my part. But one year I asked for Voltron. Not the metal Voltron, but it was the plastic lions. You could take them apart or form them into Voltron. And the action figures for each one. I asked for them, and a Roe Beast, and what was his name? Zarkon, and Prince Lotor, and the Witch. And I asked for all of them. begged for all of them, and I got them that Christmas. And I don't think I got in the room to see them in time. My mom already had them wrapped in a big garbage bag or something under the bed. I went in there and I unwrapped those things. Now, I did it really well. I did a really good job of it, I thought. I peeled it back and I looked at all of them while my mom was gone and my dad was gone. And then I wrapped them back up and I put them under. And my oldest brother knew that I did this. He knew that I did this. I know we had nights where we had to do the dishes, certain nights. So one night, it would be my oldest brother and my other older brother had to wash and dry the dishes. One did one, the other did the other. The next night, it would alternate. The next night, it would be my sister and myself. One would dry and one would wash. So what happened here is my good buddy, his family invited me to go with them to, I believe it was a Civic Arena in downtown Pittsburgh, PA, to watch Hulk Hogan wrestle Jesse the Body Ventura. Two wrestlers that me and my brothers loved, especially, of course, Hogan at the time. This was the 80s. Oh, man, couldn't wait. I'm going to go see this for free. My buddies take it. They're driving us. They're buying and flying. Hell, yes. I could not wait for this. So when my oldest brother found out, or he caught me in the act of unwrapping these presents and wrapping them up again, he came to me after dinner that night. And there was a lot of dishes. And he said, you're going to take my turn doing dishes, or I'm going to tell Mom and Dad what you did. And I thought he was bluffing. He had to be bluffing, am I right? He wasn't bluffing. And I wasn't one to roll over, so I said, no, I'm not doing the dishes tonight. Would have been easy just to do the dishes, to have a memory of a lifetime. Way to go, little Poe. He went to them and he told them. And I do believe I got my ass spanked pretty good by my old man and yelled at by him and my mother. And they made me call my friend. And not only did I have to call my friend and say that I wasn't going to make it, I had to explain to him the reason why. Such humiliation. The reason why I wasn't going is because my dumb ass unwrapped some presents and looked at them. So I never got to see Hulk Hogan wrestle Jesse the Body Ventura at the Civic Arena in downtown Pittsburgh in the 80s because I looked at my Voltron stuff. And on top of that, my dad said, this stuff's all going back to the store. You're not getting Voltron for Christmas. So I thought for sure Christmas was ruined, blah, blah, blah. Long story, really long story short. Christmas morning, I did get them. They weren't going to unwrap them and take them back. So I got them, but lesson learned? Not really, because a few years later, I'm looking at my NES. I wasn't unwrapping anything, but we were still looking every year when the parents weren't home in the evenings. Why not? But, so that's one of my Christmas memories. But yeah, we just didn't sleep. Christmas was so special. I mean, a lot of times my dad's mother, my grandma, would stay overnight on Christmas Eve because she had no other family other than us there. My dad's oldest brother, the late 60s, early 70s, had moved off to Chicago and had a job as a pastor in downtown Chicago. My dad's little sister lived out in the state of Indiana near the Kentucky border, and with her husband and everything. So a lot of times at Christmas, we were it, unless my grandmother flew to one of their houses, She did that once in a while. The Christmas morning would be special because Grandma would be there. We would get up all night long, especially me and my brother that were 2 years older than me, and just look at that Christmas tree. One year they got him a Darth Vader lightsaber, and me a Luke Skywalker one. He had the red, I had the green. And they weren't the collapses before the collapsible ones, or the ones that made sounds. It was long plastic tubes. Just a flashlight with a piece of cellophane, green or red, on them. And they were open at the end. So when you swung it, it made a sound from the air flowing through there. It was supposed to sound like a lightsaber, but it really didn't. One year we got up and those were there, and we didn't know we were getting those, but they were there just unwrapped. And I remember getting into a battle with him at like 3 a.m. with the darn things and then running back to bed, beating them, putting welts on each other's butt cheeks and hitting each other's fingers and stuff like that. And a lot of times my parents would get up and yell at us, get your butts back to bed, and you just couldn't sleep. You might have got sleep. It didn't feel like you got any sleep. But especially us two being the youngest, we were always up, we would even get up and play with our action figures and talk about where we're hoping that reinforcements were coming in the morning and that kind of stuff. Just sleepless nights, the anxiety, it was great. I absolutely loved it.
Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the ship, not a sensor was flashing, not even a blip. When there was a huge crash, to the bridge I then ran, and thereupon St. Nicholas with joystick in hand. With Atari's Miss Pac-Man, he gobbled and scored. Then on to Jungle Hunt, he played till he roared. From out of his sack, he pulled dozens of games, all the great ones from Atari, our favorite names. Before I could thank him, he beamed out of sight. With a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Only from Atari. Made especially for systems from Atari. The video game that lets you help E.T. get home. Just in time for Christmas. Happy holidays.
But 40 years ago today, or Christmas Day 2022, I got my Atari video computer system, the 2600. And this is it. And so, I think I've done this, pretty sure I've played these games before on my original lineup of video games, but why not play them again? So, without further ado, here we go. Go ahead and watch. This intro was way too long, but it's Christmas. It's a special. It's a Christmas special. It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle. So stick around if you want. Here comes the game. Okay, like I said, I think I did all these in another video where I did my first video game console and my lineup of games, but this is a Christmas special, a Mr. Poestyle Christmas special. And as you can see on the screen here, we're going to start off with Combat. Not only because it was the pack-in game with the Atari 2600 back then, but also because I don't have a second player here with me right now. It's, you know, I'm home alone, so it's Combat. It's going to be me versus nobody here. But okay, and here we go. And of course, there's different modes, and you can play as biplanes and big planes, and there's ricochet mode and invisible mode and invisible mazes or barriers. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of great stuff. You got your tank controls, obviously. It's a tank game. Tanks a lot. I'm winning. I'm winning. Haha, sucker. Now this was a lot of fun playing with my brothers or my sister, you know, back in the day. Combat was always a good time. We had two players. Having a good time. Save love. Whoops. I accidentally hit the wrong button. I am playing on my Retron just because it's upstairs. It's easier that way. We're talking about save states. I'm hitting the reset. I'm hitting the wrong buttons here on my Retron. There we go. There's mazes. All your game modes. Airplanes. Biplanes. I'm the Red Baron. Ha 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 ha. The googly gunshot. I can't even beat nobody. Turn the wrong way. Let you get the idea. Good thing I'm not playing against anybody. Can't even play by myself and win. Yeah, I just suck, finally. In about 8 years. I'm using the stick from Retro Game Boys again. But you get the idea. Big Mama Jamma. I'm still not hitting anybody. Missing them totally. Okay. Combat. So there's that. Okay, next up is Stampede, and this was the game that was for me. My parents bought it, wrapped it up with my name on it. So this is the very first home console game that I ever owned, and that I ever played. First time I played a video game at home. No, I had played Crazy Climber, maybe a few other things at some restaurants or whatever, but this was the first time I played at home. Activision made some great games. Obviously, best. Them and Magic. Whoops, didn't get that one. I'm not gonna get them. I'm gonna lose already. But man, we would spend hours playing this. Don't hit the skull. No! Ah, nuts. So that's Stampede. Don't want to spend too much time on every single one of them. I know you're here for gameplay, but I went way long in my intro. It's Christmas. Just want to show the games. Alright, Pitfall. This was one that was gifted to my oldest brother. He's 4 years older than me. And Pitfall, always a fun game. We used to sit and play this one forever. We never really had a plan of attack. Whoops, back then. We just went for it. So, I mean, you can watch people like the No Swear Gamer does a run through with the kill screen and everything. We just played it till we ran out of time or died or whatever. But there is a way, whoops, to get all the, what is it, 30, is it 36 treasures? 32, something, I don't know. This is one that I think is actually probably easier with the actual joystick, because I'm just not moving the way I want to with this one. Nah, I'm not going to get very far. Well, I hit jump. You'll just have to take my word for it. But yeah, a lot of people were blown away by this game back then, and rightfully so. What did we have before that? A lot of space shooters and that type of thing. Nothing real imaginative. This was great, the first platformer. See, with the Atari joystick, I can usually get right on there. The original, or the old commercial for this, with a young Jack Black with his safari hat on. But yeah, this was my oldest brother's game. And he used to do a lot better at it, obviously, than me. Now, my dad was pretty strict about this. He was worried about burn-in, so when we first got the Atari that year, 40 years ago, he made a rule. We each got a half hour to play per day, and that was it. Each person could play for a half an hour, and that was it. And they went oldest to youngest, so I'm the youngest of 4, so do the math. I was the last to play each day. You had a half an hour. A lot of times I just stuck to Stampede that Christmas, but we would play try some of these other ones out. Of course, my brothers could be jerks about it and say, no, that's my game. You play my game. If they wanted to be a-holes about it, But, through the years, people in the family lost interest, so you could play whatever you want. And my dad's rules kind of loosened, because a lot of times, he would be at work, so you played longer than a half an hour. As my brothers were doing other things, maybe I'd play a couple hours at some Atari games, but things loosened up a little bit after that. Doing terribly at it, but this is Pitfall. I'm gonna have to do a run through of this one day with the official joystick, because it is a lot of fun. But that's the game that my oldest brother got. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, my brother that's 2 years older than me, he got Defender. And I remember especially him and my sister really playing this one, really enjoying this one a lot back then. So it's Defender. Iconic sounds. And he would go through all the modes. He even liked playing the modes where your city was already totally destroyed and there were mutants everywhere. You got your radar on top. Somebody's going to steal somebody. Well, shoot them with when they have people up too high, the people actually splat. Try to catch the people if they're too high. Somebody's taking somebody. Uh-oh, could be a splat. Oh, splat for me. The person survived. A lot of die-hard Defender people from the arcades did not like this version, but this was the version we knew before we knew the arcade version. And there is a Defender 2 out there. I don't think I have that in my collection. I don't think. It could be. Come on, you jerk. Staying right on me. No! He was going too quick. Really fast. And there you go, that's Defender. Game that belonged to my oldest brother. Really happy that these cartridges are firing right up, working right away. Alright. Okay, now my cat's in here rubbing himself on the tripod here. This is Haunted House. This is a great game. My dad bought this as a family gift, but really I know it was for himself. He loves haunted houses. He loves Halloween. This was right up his alley. So, Haunted House, the family game. You light your match, and you go, go, go. Ghost. Tarantula. Ghost. Tarantula. Bat. Jerks. They're just surrounding me. Surrounding me. There's a scepter, so I'm safe. Screw that. Oh, that's a cheat. They were camping. They were camping. Now get the hell out of the haunted house. Hey! Get out. Where you at, Batty? Alright, let's get out of here. Then I'll play with the eyes. When they play the Twilight Zone music. It's a tradition. We always had to move the eyes. How about that? Haunted house. Like all the other games, there were higher difficulty levels, etc., etc. But always a good time. And last but not least, finally, game number 6 that we got for Christmas that year. And this was also a pack-in game along with Combat at that time. My dad said it came along with the system when he bought it at Fisher's Big Wheel. This was the Pac-Man. Everybody knew about Pac-Man. Even if you didn't go to arcades or didn't play, Pac-Man was everywhere. Iconic. First big mascot of the video game scene. Had his own Pac-Man Fever record, which my oldest brother, that's 4 years older than me, had. And we would play that record while we were playing these games a lot. So much so that that record wore out. It skipped like crazy because we played it so much. But yeah, a lot of people hate this. I have a soft spot in my heart for this game because this is the Pac-Man that we knew. We weren't going to arcades. A lot of the grocery stores or restaurants around me that did have arcade cabinets didn't seem to really have Pac-Man that I remember so much. And maybe Pizza Hut did. Or they had a Ms. Pac-Man cocktail or something at one point. But here we go. Pac-Man Fever, Pac-Man Atari 2600. Sure, I need a 4-way joystick instead of my 8-way for this to make it a little smoother. But we'll try to muddle through somehow. Getting too cocky. Oh, died anyway. Meant to go down, went up. That's what she said. This is another one. We would just sit and play it forever. I remember my sister having one of her friends over just after Christmas that year. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. They were taking turns playing, and her friend was yelling the whole time my sister would play. She'd be yelling, get eat, not get eaten or die. Get eat. And we still talk about that 40 years later. One of us will yell that, get eat. There's the vitamin. And that's what they called it in this game. I want the vitamin. Stop it. Give me the vitamin. Oh, I turned that way. You friggin' liars. I turned that way. Pac-Man. 2600 style. I apologize. I should have used the stock controllers. I actually should have fired this up on my 4-switch Woody, but it's that time of day to record. It's a little bit easier to use my Retron in the living room where I can get it nice and dark. My game room during the day is pretty well lit down there. So this is the way we did it. This is the way we did it. 40 years, and imagine just, you can see my brothers were happy in the picture where I was opening something else. But once this thing turned on, and I'm watching them play, I fell in love. And it's been that way ever since. Like I said, this year, We're even opening our PlayStation 5, so the love for home video games continues, at least at our house. I'm all over the place with this joystick. You need a 4-way for Pac-Man, not an 8-way. It's just too slippery. Too slippery. Buckwheat. Oh, that was close. I'm not even going to get one board. That's okay. It's all about the memories. I see, I kept trying to push to the side and it just wasn't working. There used to be a glitch here. If you went out of here real fast, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, you could slide the whole way down through the middle of the board. I don't know if that'll still work now. As kids, we knew it well, but... I tried to go over to the power pellet, and then it just didn't happen. But there it is. There you have it. That was the lineup of games we got 40 years ago. This Christmas, 40 years ago, 1982. Combat. Go in order here. Combat, Stampede, Pitfall, Defender, Haunted House, and finally Pac-Man 2600. That is an awesome Christmas. That's a lot of games. Especially with the time restrictions my father put on us. Half hour each. You had enough games to last you for quite a while. And then I remember him at another point, one of his buddies sold him or gave him a couple games at work that he brought home for us, and that was football, where you look like giant TV sets running down the field, and home run. So any games were great games. Yeah, new to us. All right, well, let's wrap this up. And again, this video is all just for fun. If you want to see these games played in more detail in the proper way, just throw it in the comments down below, and I will do that. I like to play my Atari 2600 games, and I've had a few suggestions already, so we're going to get to some of them in future videos. But just having fun with this video, talking about Christmas memories, and for fun, just throwing in old 80s commercials. So I hope you bared with me there. I hope you had fun watching this video. I know it ran extra long, but it's Christmas. All right, guys, let's go to the wrap up. Alright everybody, so that was it. That was my original lineup of games from Christmas of 1982. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you remember the reminiscing and the gameplay. Still my favorite time of the year. So I hope you have or had a great holiday season. I hope you got everything you asked for. And here we are, 40 years later, Atari VCS. And I get a PS5 for Christmas of this year. So 40 years later, still gaming strong. This is also 36 years ago today, Christmas Day, since I got my NES. I got that in '86. And also 31 years since I got my SNES for Christmas. That was 1991. Those are the main game systems I got for Christmas. By that point with my SNES, I was in high school, senior in high school. And we've gotten other game systems through the years at Christmas. My PS3 I got one year for Christmas. I got my kids the Wii and the Wii U and the Switch all at Christmas as well. And now this year the PS5. Other systems we got that weren't on Christmas, the OG Xbox, you know, my PlayStation, original PlayStation, a few others, but the ones for Christmas, always a very special time. Especially if you're a video gamer and an old school video gamer like I am. Thank you for joining me. Happy holidays. Stay safe, stay warm, enjoy your time with your family, no matter what holiday you're celebrating right now, or even if you're not, and you know, celebrating a holiday. I hope you had a great time watching another great Mr. Poestyle Merry Christmas video. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Oh, Nacho. Come here, Nacho. No biting. No bite. Ooh, no biting. Oh, Nacho, stop.